my father's the kind of guy, like, he thought I was gay when I was a little kid because I liked blueberries. So I could only imagine what would have happened to him if we would have went to the pizzeria and I asked for a plain slice of cheese, if this man is questioning if I'm a homosexual because I wanted some antioxidants. I could only imagine. I mean, plain slice of cheese, he would have just been like, what, do you also want a bukkake of cock? Oh my God!
Chris DiStefano is on the Adam Carolla Show.
What do you like on a slice of pizza? What's the best?
That joke was coming from, I was just in New York and there was a guy in front of me, like all these out-of-towners, like if you go into a pizzeria, like a New York pizzeria, and you say, can I have a plain slice with cheese? No, I mean, nobody, we were like, what, go home. You have to say it's just a regular. I just want a regular or a Sicilian. I'm not a toppings guy. I understand different, we're in LA here, it's a different thing. But it's like you're not ordering a Hawaiian pizza from a New York City pizzeria guy. Most of them won't do it. I've seen pizza guys be like, I'm not putting pineapple.
Now, where do you come down on pepperoni?
Pepperoni I'll do. I like pepperoni. I have pepperoni nipples, so I like doing that. But I for me, pizza, it's just, I'm just regular pie.
I'm with you.
That's how I go.
I like sausage and onion, but regular's fine. I put garlic powder on it, which I love, which is an East Coast thing, and it didn't make it here.
Yeah.
You go to the pizzeria on the East Coast, they got some peppers, they got some cheese sometimes, but they have garlic powder, not garlic salt, garlic powder, and you can just douse it with garlic powder.
Or in New York, the Puerto Ricans have adobo. My fiance, my family's Puerto Rican. So like we put adobo on pizza, and that gets wild.
What's adobo?
It's like a Puerto Rican spice. It's kind of like garlic powder, but it's just, I don't know, it's just fucking adobo. It's Puerto Rican garlic powder.
Did your wife take offense to the Puerto Rican Trump garbage, joke from the Nazi rally?
Not at all. I literally I watched my own family over the course of the last 8 years go from Democrat to Republican. I just watched it slowly happen because of the Dems just did it to themselves. I mean, you had, my family, case in point, Puerto Rican people all voted for Obama, did not like Donald Trump the first time, voted for Hillary, Latinos, buying into, racism and all that. And then just as time went on, they were like, wait a minute, what? And then even and the Puerto Rican garbage thing, I bring that up to say, because that, for my family, my girl, that was when she heard that, she was like, that to me, is the same grab her by the pussy thing. She was like, that's the same thing. And now I hate these people. She was like, I can't stand the left. That doesn't bother me.
Well, here's an interesting thought experiment that we can all engage in, which is I, too, have seen folks drift from the left to the right.
Right.
I can't think in the last 8 years. I cannot think of an example of anyone drifting from the right to the left in the last 8 years not that it hasn't happened, just no one in my orbit. I've seen women especially who were like hard all in COVID at the beginning drifting toward the right.
Well, the woman thing, to me, it's like that is the women in sports thing. That to me is like that's a pre and post. It's like BC AD. Every woman that I know who went from left to right, that's where they said, now I'm out. Because especially like people with daughters, they were like, no. This is now you've lost me. Now I'm not voting for you.
I know. It wasn't capital gains taxes. No, it wasn't the corporate rate. They didn't give a shit about any of it. But the second they saw some dude whooping up on a chick in a swimming pool, they're like, now I'm out.
Yeah.
All right, Mayhem, what do you got?
Well, first up, this just in, an emboldened controversial statement. Colombia President Gustavo Petro argued that cocaine should be treated no worse than whiskey and should be sold like wine. Yeah, the remarks made by a recent international summit on drug policy have drawn widespread reactions from world leaders, health experts, and the public. And now you guys.
Cocaine, when it's not stepped on with a bunch of fentanyl and a bunch of other shit, just in its kind of pure form.
Pretty mellow.
Yeah, well, first off, if anyone's ever done good cocaine, you get it.
Right.
Like you get, this is why people love it. Fucking cocaine.
I mean, look, Sigmund Freud, we wouldn't have had his genius without it.
Yeah, and also, I got to talk to Dr. Drew about it. I will during cuddle time later on tonight on the sofa when we're watching Hitler docs.
Love it.
But, he said to me in the past that, like, for instance, heroin doesn't really hurt your body, but people hurt themselves injecting heroin.
Got it.
And they overdose and stuff. But heroin is better on your body than booze is. Booze is bad for your body.
Sure.
Heroin is not as bad for your body.
Right.
And cocaine may be some of that. So, like if you just said, look, we're going to conduct an experiment, couple of cocktails at night versus a couple of rails. I'd say in the morning. You know what I mean? Let's switch the times up because we got a lot to do.
Yeah.
And we don't want to stay up all night. But of like pure coke, like pharmaceutical grade, what have you, at the end of 10 years, the guy who just did the coke would probably be in better shape than the booze
Sure.
guy.
Twin study,
Yeah.
Twin
And if
study.
we gave him like a Scrabble game to say, play the game of Scrabble with him or gave him a crossword puzzle or tried to play him in checkers, I bet the coke guy would fare better than the booze guy.
Yeah. And with the Coke, I feel like with the Coke, you kind of see it coming. Like you could see the progressions, where with alcohol, you're just drinking, having fun. And then one day it just shuts off. You just gain 400 pounds. You lose your hair. You're divorced.
Well,
your whole life's over.
Because alcoholics figured it out, which is they figured out that there's different drinks for different times of the day and even different days. So you want to drink at 10 in the morning on Sundays, you can have a mimosa.
Right.
Judgment free.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you need to drink on Saturday in the morning, you have a Bloody Mary.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You can have a couple of beers as long as there's a game on, like playing somewhere. You can turn your back to the game. But just start chugging beers. You can drink beer. So there's toast. There's celebrations. There's every different kind of booze. Cocaine. There's no morning cocaine or no Tuesday cocaine.
No.
There's always a judgment.
Right.
There's always judgment with cocaine. But booze, as long as you're doing the right booze at the right time, you can get away with it.
Yeah. I've never done Coke. But I just wonder if I should at this point. Especially if I know it's pure and clean.
Yeah.
Why not just give it a taste?
I'm telling you, I had a friend who worked on the TV show Miami Vice.
Yeah.
And he brought good Miami Coke back from Miami when he came back to LA, and he gave it to me, and I was like, oh, this is what people are talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I've never felt better in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
You just feel good. I've never done it.
Oh, it's the best. You know what? You're in a bracket now where you could start.
Yeah,
you could. Because I've said to everyone, Coke used to be $120 a gram, and I made $9 an hour.
Right.
Now I'm rich and Coke is $40 a gram. I could definitely afford it.
Yes.
That's not a barrier to entry anymore.
Right.
Maybe after the show.
Well, let's do some Coke. Me, you, and Dr. Drew.
Health experts raised concerns, warning that a move to legalize and commercialize cocaine could lead to increased addiction rates, health crises, and social issues. Alcohol is already a significant public health challenge, and adding cocaine to the mix would create a global disaster. On the other side, there's people with decriminalization would, create, dissolve the crime networks that.
Yeah, but the thing about the syndicates and the thing about like when they talk about the groups, the organized crime in Mexico, here, wherever it is in the part of the world, they are the cartels. They're like the most fluid people in the world. You know what I mean? They go, we're selling pot. And then we go, pot's legal now. And they go, human trafficking it is.
Yeah.
They just go right to human trafficking.
Right.
And no one ever goes, boss, we don't have a lot of experience. Well, get experience. Let's go.
Yeah.
And they just start selling humans. You could outlaw Havarti cheese tomorrow and it'd start coming in from Mexico 3 days later. That's how they do it. It doesn't really matter who it is or what. They'll do pot until you legalize pot, and then they'll do coke until you legalize coke, and then it's back to human trafficking. Like
Right.
That they just make their money doing everything.
So you're saying if you want to stop human trafficking, don't legalize coke.
I'm saying every time you go, what we're going to do is we're going to decriminalize this and we're going to defund the cartels because this is how they make their money. And it's like, no. They make their money any way you can think of because what you have to do is decriminalize everything.
Right.
And then you can teenage prostitution, fine, no problema.
Yeah.
But they find the one thing that's still decriminalized or still criminal that we want, and they go right there.
Got it.
That's exactly. I'm surprised they're not doing lawn darts.
Yeah.
Smuggled in from Tijuana.
They might.
They probably could.
Yeah.
All right, well, here's a fun one. I haven't seen the video yet, but a viral video shows Alaska Airlines flight attendant punching screaming man who attacked a female passenger. I think let's just jump right into it.
The last
Now,
guy.
I'll just say that's proper hammer fist technique.
Hammer fist?
That's a proper technique
Is
right
he
there.
elbowing or is he hammer
I
fisting?
believe there was an elbow in there, reverse elbow. But you don't want to throw it that 12 to 6, you know?
Guy's middle-aged.
Yeah, middle-aged, kind of a beefy flight attendant. Oh, this guy is having a connection.
Episode?
Yeah, a violent episode apparently. But the hammer fist released the grip.
What was
on a
that guy
woman.
doing? He was hitting a woman?
He was holding onto her apparently. He was having sort of a, I guess they call it like a mental breakdown or some type of a violent medical episode is what they call it. And he just was holding on to this lady, and the flight attendant came over and gave a little Randy Couture ground and pound. Hammer fisting the guy free and open.
I was on a flight once, and I'm just so happy that I was there to witness this. So I was on a flight, and it was we were sitting in it was a smaller plane, but it was the first 3 rows, and the flight attendant was really nice lady. She was in her mid-50s, very, very nice, being so sweet. And this guy who was sitting across was just like a dick. He was being a dick. You could just tell he was just annoyed by everything or whatever. So we're landing, and she is going to give the people their coats back. Sometimes people wear dress, blazers or whatever, and they hang them up for them. She's going to give it back, and she gives it back to him very nicely, and he goes, "There's a crease in this." He goes, "There's a crease in this." And then she was like, "I'm sorry, sir," whatever she said, so professional. There's a crease in this. And then she sits in her jump seat, right? We are maybe 5,000 feet still, but we're going to land in 8 minutes. So she's in her jump seat, and this guy is yelling at her, "You creased my jacket. Who's going to pay for this? Is this on American Airlines?" And I was just perfect thing. I'm so grateful I saw this. This lady took the worker. She took out of the jump seat, and she said, "This is my last day on the job. I've been working for this airline for 25 years." She goes, "I swear to God, sir, I will break your fucking arm." So shut the fuck up in front of all of us. She goes, "Shut the fuck up and sit there, and I will give you the information on who to complain to when we land. Do not move." And then sat there, and it was like a scene from a movie. Those 3 rows started clapping for her. Started clapping for her. And then people started letting this guy have it, "You fucking dick. You're an asshole." And then he didn't even take the information. He just got his coat and walked off the plane quick. And I was like, good shit.
Was that a flight to New York?
It was good. No, we was a small. Where were we going? I think we're going from New York to Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, famous for saying "fuck you."
Yeah, dude.
Can you imagine? I was just watching that Kevin Costner Horizon movie Part 2 where they're in the wagon train.
Yeah.
Could you imagine explaining to one of those people you got a crease in your coat? You traveled 1,400 miles, I got to fucking steam this thing out.
Yeah.
And their kids died along the way.
100%.
Dysentery.
Stabbed by Indians.
Scumbags. Yeah.
That was my plan. My plan was, I said all airports should have a guy dressed as one of the Donner Party walk around the airport. And when someone, when they do the flight delay, it's going to be about a 40-minute flight delay. And the person's like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, what else could go wrong? What else could go?" The Donner Party guy would be like, "We had to eat our guide."
Yeah.
And we're on that godforsaken mountain for 4 months. I watched my daughter die in my arms. So you're going to take another, 22 minutes to get to Baltimore? Suck it up with the crease in the coat.
Yeah.
head on over to the Chili's over there.
Yeah.
Drop my name. They'll give you a light beer.
Yeah.
How about that? How about
That's
that? You watch a
amazing.
little of the Lakers game. How about that?
Yeah.
Because we died on that mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Understand?
Yeah.
He's an honor party guy. They have the person that plays the piano to like relax everybody.
Sure.
Have Donner Party guy.
Or you
Tattered
could-
clothes.
You could go
walking
the other
around.
direction. He like looks off into the distance and goes, "It's gonna be a long winter."
Be a long winter. He's got a human
Yeah.
femur
Yeah.
bone in his hand.
yeah,
There's some meat on it. This is
Real
my
shit.
wife. This is my wife. You want a taste?
Yeah.
Or you go to the Chili's.
Take a
Chill
bite.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Donner Party
Barbecue
guy.
sauce. All right. President Trump eliminates pennies and brings back plastic straws. Tackling ridiculous government waste.
When's the last time you dealt with a penny?
A penny?
Or
I
even
don't
a
know.
nickel? Like, I'll keep going. Like, it's a quarter.
I don't have change. Yeah.
I mean,
I
I'm
don't-
not that rich, but I go like just walk away from the change. Like, what am I going to do with it? If if I'm in the car, then it goes somewhere.
Then
but
I always put it, if I'm like at a coffee shop, it just goes in tip.
there you go.
But
Exactly.
But you always have to give them $1
But
too.
I would just walk off from
No.
if it's $1 and change, I
Yeah.
just go
yeah.
and like quietly.
You know what's one thing I asked though? When you like when you do like the tips, like like for things that don't need to be tipped, when it's on the screen now, everyone does like 10%. A lot of times the servers they don't get it.
they don't even get it.
They don't get it. The
Oh.
restaurant gets it. So so I
really?
don't do that anymore. Now I just give cash
Direct.
And if I don't have cash, I say I'm sorry. I'll even take a little moment and say what's your Venmo and give them that because I did not realize they are not getting that tip a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Really?
The
I did
restaurants
not
getting
know
it.
that. I've always just thought it went to them.
No, you're just giving the money more restaurant. You're giving the restaurant more money.
I got a theory. I haven't seen a penny in a long time. Like pennies are out of circulation, but now every time I turn on the TV, I see one of these Tommy Copper commercials with the copper fit elbow band and the copper fit band.
Yeah.
You think they're taking those pennies? I'm just saying.
Reappropriated?
I have not seen pennies, but I've seen 1,000 copper-infused braces now. I think they're funneling
It's
that
possible.
money into Tommy Copper.
Yeah.
I think Brett Favre is in on this. If you looked at a calendar, the day I stopped seeing pennies is the day I started seeing copper fit commercials on
Makes
Fox.
sense to me.
It makes sense to me. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, then the next target is, like you said, the nickel. And the interesting part about that is that nickels cost between like 7 and 13 cents
To manufacture.
So there's a weird disconnect there that now, where do you stop? You stop at quarters?
But you know what, though? At least in the United States, it's just the change. It's just like 25 cents and under is the change. In Europe, like $1
I
is a
know.
coin. And I'm like, I don't
Two.
want to.
They
Yeah,
have
dude, I don't want to
€2.
live like that. I don't want to live like that at all. But paper money or it's out.
I'll tell you the only advantage or use for coins anymore, and we got screwed with it, is kids think money's invisible, and so everything's like Apple Pay for them. So I've realized as I've traveled through life, as money has gotten invisible, the person that earns all the money gets zero credit because it's just invisible now.
Sure.
And so everything's just on an automatic pay, Apple Pay, whatever pay. I got the Venmo.
Yeah.
I got this app. I got that app. I got the grocery app. I got the whatever app. And I got the Amazon thing. And I'm walking around busting my ass paying for everything. And everyone's looking at me like, hey, fat ass, you're blocking the TV set. You know, we can't. And I realized, because then my daughter said to me, literally, she was complaining about not this and not that. I go, I bought you, I lease you a Mercedes Benz. And she goes, Mom took me to get it. And I was like,
no credit.
Yeah, because she doesn't have a job. That's what do
yeah.
you mean? She's getting the credit for driving you 4 miles to Glendale? I'm like, because that's when I realized what I do, which is pay, is invisible.
Right.
What Mom did is at least tangible. She drove her.
I saw a stat the other day that said something about, like, it was about clothes, like the amount of outfits a person who's like just at the poverty line has is the same as like what a king and queen used to have. Like back in the day, like you would only have 10 outfits. Like even the wealthiest of the wealthy, they would not have this idea of like you're wearing all these different clothes all the time. And then it was this other stat about how many things even a person at the poverty line is paying for is the same as like what a king and queen would be paying for. It's not the same percentage of the income, but it's like Adam was saying, you right now, because money's invisible, you might be paying for 50 different things because of subscriptions and this and that, where like that was unheard of, where when you used to have to like write out your bills, you were not going to pay for as many things as the Apple subscriptions and the invisible money now. So we are spending so much more of our money, and we are so bogged down with clutter, most people, that it has a humongous impact on our psyche that, again, kings and even us, the homes that we buy, like you want to buy a 10,000 square foot home. It's like back in the day, only like lords would have that, and they would have a full staff to take care of the square footage of that house. So it's just like we're living this world, we're living in this idea where it's like, older people used to do that, the last generation, but they had servants. They didn't have, that it was about happiness. Like,
now we have delivery drivers.
Exactly.
And but guys who walk straight up and hand you your coffee right at your door.
Right, but it all decreases your happiness. All of it.
Oh, all of it. But so if my kids understood change in dollar bills and paying the Grubhub guy with quarters and dollars that daddy brought home, there'd be an entire different perspective on money.
Sure.
Versus the phone thing where the chick just swipes it and we're going home.
It's a good point.
All right, Burt Ward, you know him as Robin from Batman, is waiting in Zoom Town for us. I'll give Chris a plug. The Hulu special. It's out February 21st. Right?
Yes, sir.
On Hulu. Mm-hmm. Where'd you shoot it, by the way?
I shot it in Tarrytown, New York, Westchester.
It looks amazing.
Thank you.
The trailer's up now.
Trailer's up now. It's one comic a month. Hulu picked one comic a month, and I'm blessed that they gave me Black History Month.
Live shows. And if you go to chrisdcomedy.com, that's where all the dates are.
All the dates are the big one, September 11, 2025, Madison Square Garden. That's the big one.
Always good to see you, my friend.
Thank you, boys.